A very happy day, ladies and gentlemen. Tim Burgess back with Think and Grow Rich, and we want to get back into the chapter on autosuggestion, the third principle and the final block in the foundation. This block, as you already realize, is the most important one, without question. I know in the last video that we did, I get kind of worked up. This chapter works me up because, as Napoleon makes very clear, without it being emotionally involved with what we want, where we're going, we probably won't change what we're doing. Well, if we don't change what we're doing, we'll never change the results we get. And so many people go through life same old, same old. And that's not why we're here. We're here to go through life growing. Growing in relationships, growing in spirituality, growing in peace of mind, calmness, relaxation, and yes, of course, growing in dollars. Remember, the book was written for men and women who resent poverty. That's why it was written. But it wasn't just poverty in money. It was poverty in life. Now, in the last video, Autosuggestion Part 1, we get a little worked up and we talked about how plain old unemotional words have no action influence on the subconscious part of the mind. Well, remember, thoughts cause feelings. Feelings are then expressed in actions, and actions produce results. And so what we want to do is get emotionalized about where we're going instead of being all emotionally involved in all the negative garbage that's going on in the world, which is where most people spend their lives. We don't want to do that. So as you read your story, remember the 6 steps from the chapter on desire. The fifth step, was to write the story. The 6th step was to read the story. So as you do that, put emotion in it. And there's a reason, as you'll learn, okay? Now, continuing, he says, do not become discouraged if at first you cannot control and direct your emotions the first time you try. You can't do that. He says, remember, there's no such possibility as something for nothing. The ability to reach and influence the subconscious mind has its price, and you must pay that price. There's no shortcuts. And the price is the repetition. Let's go back a chapter. Let's go back to faith. Repetition of the orders to the mind, to the subconscious, over and over and over again, right? He says the price of ability to influence your subconscious mind is everlasting persistence in applying the principles described here. He says you cannot develop the desired ability for a lower price. And you alone must decide whether or not the price you must pay is worth it. Only you can decide that. I can't do that for you. He says wisdom and cleverness alone will not attract and retain money. That won't happen. Your ability to use this principle of self-suggestion. Our ability to use this depends very largely upon our capacity to concentrate upon a given desire until that desire becomes a burning obsession within us. Now, I don't know about anybody else, but when I was growing up, that obsession thing, if you were obsessed, you were a bad person. You're obsessed. But now I'm reading in a book written by a guy that interviewed the wealthy that a burning obsession is a good thing. And here's the caveat I'd like to give you. That burning obsession is only a good thing as long as you're not stepping on somebody else to pull it off. When you're pulling people up with you, that's when it's the best thing. He says, when you begin to carry out the instructions in connection with the 6 steps, here we hear it about it again, you'll hear about these 6 steps throughout the book. That's how important they are. He says, when you begin to carry out the instructions in connection with the 6 steps described in the 2nd chapter, it will be necessary for you to make use of the principle of concentration. You want to concentrate on that vision that you're creating about whatever it is that you want. If it's money, great. If it's more spirituality, great. If it's more love in your relationships, great. Whatever it is, it doesn't matter. Well, shoot, you can put a new car, put it in detail on as step 1. It doesn't matter. Excuse me. He says, let us here offer suggestions for the effective use of concentration. When you begin to carry out the first of the 6 steps, which instructs you to fix in your own mind the exact amount of money you desire, Hold your thoughts on that amount of money with concentration or fixation. of attention with your eyes closed until you can actually see the money. And this is where a lot of people have a hard time. They say, my eyes closed, all I see is dark. Let's get your imagination out of the closet. Okay, I know it got beat out of you through society, because if you imagine and use your imagination, and you really use your imagination well, oh my gosh, there's something wrong with you. Remember that guy that figured out we could actually communicate through the air without the aid of wires? That guy named Marconi? They threw him in a psychopathic hospital. Remember that? Yeah. He says, here is the most significant fact. When you're holding your eyes on this with concentration, right? Here's the most significant fact. The subconscious mind takes any orders given in a spirit of absolute faith, and it'll act on those orders, although the orders often have to be presented over and over again through repetition before they are interpreted by the subconscious mind. So over and over and over and over and over. Here we are back to math class. That's how simple this is, ladies and gentlemen. Think and Grow Rich. That's how simple it is. Yeah, as simple as the flashcards in math. How about if you flashcard your goal? And you look at the flashcard, and then you look at the next one, and then you look at the next one, and then you look at the next one. Maybe I just gave us an idea. He says what you're really doing is you're handing over the thoughts suggested in your mind. You're handing that over to the subconscious. You're getting it over. You hand it over. That way it becomes a habit for you to think that way all the time. And the easiest way to hand it over is through the principle of concentration. Concentrate on that goal. Okay? He says, do not wait for a definite plan through which you intend to exchange services or merchandise in return for the money, but begin at once to see yourself in possession of it. Now, it's kind of conflicting when he says in step 4, create a definite plan and begin at once whether you're ready or not. And then here he says, don't wait for the definite plan. You have to get moving. Let's make sure we understand something, ladies and gentlemen. Just sitting around visualizing, is $500,000 in my bank yet? That's not going to happen. Wait a minute. Let me harder. It's still not going to happen. We have to get up off our ass and take intelligent action to make things happen. If we don't do that, we're not going to get anything. Intelligent action is the key word. We take intelligent action based on feeling the way we want to feel, based on the self-suggestion that we're doing. Most people just take action every day based on what? Same feeling they had yesterday. Gotta make the donuts. That's not why you're here. Okay, that's not why you're here. So, don't wait for the definite plan. Create it and get moving, and then each step it'll show up. It's kind of like driving at night on a road you've never been on. The headlights only show a couple of 100 feet. If you don't stop, well, I can't see beyond 200 feet. I'm not driving any further, Tim. You keep going. Why? Because a way will be shown. True or false? You keep going and the way is shown to you. Same thing here. Keep going. The way will continue to be shown. The next step will continue to be shown if you continue to develop the faith and do exactly what Napoleon Hill is asking us to do here. It's not hard. Now, he gives us instructions on how to implement these 6 steps. First, he says the fact that you're reading this book is an indication that you are earnestly seeking knowledge. It is also an indication that you are a student of this subject. Okay, so now let's do what he's asking us to do. First, go into some quiet spot, preferably in bed where you won't be disturbed. Close your eyes and repeat out loud the written statement of the amount of money you intend to accumulate, the time limit for its acquisition. Basically, your story out loud. Now, if you don't have it memorized yet, you can't close your eyes, right? Right, duh. So, until you have it memorized, read it. Let yourself become emotionally involved in it. Now, I know this, for some, this thing, man, this is going to be, I don't know how to do it. I can't do this. You can do this. And don't worry about the fear of criticism. Go ahead. Will it feel goofy in the beginning? It might. That's okay. I felt goofy as I could possibly be, but I knew this. I wasn't going anywhere in life. Why not try what he's asking us to do? Why not do it and just risk feeling goofy a little bit for a moment? And eventually it'll turn into, this feels right. Matter of fact, this feels really, really good. And then you start to see things happening. You have to experience that for yourself. I can't do that for you. So go into some quiet spot and read your story. That's basically what he's telling us to do. And once again, you don't have to make it a real long, drawn-out story. It doesn't have to be there. But what you want to do is make sure you put the emotion in it. If you're one of those people that you like to bullet point things, go ahead, bullet point them. But put emotion in it as you read it. Remember, as you carry out these instructions, that you're applying the principle of self-suggestion for the purpose of giving orders to the subconscious mind. That's what you're doing. He says, remember also that your subconscious mind will act only upon instructions which are emotionalized and handed over to it with the feeling of faith. So why is it we have so much faith about all the stuff that's going wrong in the world? Because you hear about it every day over and 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 over. Turn this radio station on, the news comes on, negative stuff. Turn this TV on, watch this television show, the commercials come on, it's negative stuff. Every commercial is designed to tell you that you're not adequate without their stuff. Every commercial is designed to tell you that. And that's what they're doing over and over and over and over and over and over again, all day long. So grab control of that. Don't leave the subconscious part of your mind so wide open that anything can get in there. I think Mary Morrissey said it best. Be very careful about what you allow to walk down the streets of your mind. He says this, you are now reading the chapter which represents the keystone to the arch of this philosophy. What does that mean? You are now reading the chapter which represents the keystone to the arch of this philosophy. The instructions contained in this chapter must be understood and applied with persistence if you succeed in transmuting your desire into money or whatever else it is that you may want. He says the actual performance of transmuting desire into money involves the use of self-suggestion as an agency by which one may reach and influence the subconscious mind. The other principles are simply tools with which to apply self-suggestion. He says, keep this thought in mind and you will at all times be conscious of the important part. The principle of self-suggestion is to play in your efforts to accumulate whatever it is you want to accumulate through the methods described in this book. Carry out these instructions as though you were a small child. Inject into your efforts something of the faith of a child. The author has been most careful, listen to this piece. The author has been most careful to see that no impractical instructions were included because of his sincere desire to be helpful. No impractical instructions. After you have read the entire book, come back to this chapter and follow in spirit and in action this instruction. He asks you to read this chapter out loud every night until you become thoroughly convinced that the principle of self-suggestion is sound. I don't think you'll need to wait that long. I don't think you'll need to come back and read this thing very often to realize very quickly this principle is very, very sound. He says, follow the foregoing instruction to the letter and it will open the way for a complete understanding and mastery of the principles of success. Ladies and gentlemen, this is not a hard chapter. It's not a long one. But I think he, being Napoleon Hill, told us it's the most important one. It's up to you whether or not you're going to do that. So get your story out. Read your story. Do it with emotion. Get emotionally involved in it. Because if you don't, you will get no different results than you're getting right now. And I don't think that's why you're here. So everybody say thank you to Joe. Without Joe, we wouldn't be here. We wouldn't be going through this series. Joe, thank you so much, my friend, for all that you do. And as you know, we desire for this day to be the very best day you've ever experienced in this game we call life. Yesterday doesn't matter. It's already gone. Tomorrow isn't here. We can't do anything but plan for it. However, today, right now, we can do something about that. We can allow this to be the best. So please do that. Tonight, when you put your head on the pillow, please do so with a mind full of peace. Calmness of mind is one of the beautiful jewels of wisdom. And may God bless each and every one of you. Have a fabulous day.